Experts in Nigeria's extractive sector have attributed corruption in the sector to lack of transparency and accountability in governance. They are also concerned that so far the reforms made to address corruption in the extractive sector have fallen short of desired goals. In this special report, Trust TV speaks to some of these experts who recommended ways to improve transparency in the sector and also help curb corrupt practices. Take a look.
It is estimated that developing countries lose about $1 trillion each year through a web of corrupt activities that involves shady deals for natural resources. Nigeria alone is responsible for 5% of that figure, as the Ministry of Finance in 2017 revealed that Nigeria may have lost as much as around $50 billion annually to illicit financial flows through money laundering, tax evasion, and corruption, often achieved through the use of corporate vehicles. Some of these corporate vehicles, according to a recent FATF Egmont Group finding, involve the use of legal entities including corporations, trusts, foundations and partnerships with limited liability, which can be exploited for money laundering to disguise and convert the proceeds pilfered from the extractive sector.
Beneficial ownership refers to identifying the actual people who ultimately control or profit from oil, gas, and mining assets, even if they're not listed owners on paper. Now, this can involve individuals, companies, or even trusts and shell companies. Therefore, a beneficial ownership register has extended beneficial ownership disclosure to commodity traders to address secrecy in the ownership of intermediary companies in the oil, gas, and also mining sector.
Unmasking the identities of the real owners of oil, gas, and mining assets, determining how those assets were acquired, the quantity, quality, location, and real value of the assets are critical success factors if the EITI process was to be really effective in tackling opaqueness in Nigeria's natural resources management. Dr. Harry Udo, the executive director of the STEP program, believes the development of a BO register in the mining sector will go a long way in checkmating the use of shell companies and other corporate vehicles to siphon money out of the system.
Some of these people operate shell companies where in jurisdictions where they cannot pay taxes to Nigeria, and they claim to pay taxes to those jurisdictions, and even those owners themselves don't pay the taxes to these persons because they are not known and they are like spirits, as it were. And so having the beneficial ownership register opens up the process and enables you to know who real owners of businesses are. If you go to CAC and you look at ownership of companies, for instance, you will find that sometimes you see names that are not known and are probably not related, but the real owners are different from the names that you see on the CAC registration portal.
Dr. Harry says a lot of the fraud currently being investigated in the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry could have been avoided with a BO register in place.
Some of the companies recently involved with the fraud issue around the Humanitarian Ministry, you will go to CAC, you will just find, for instance, one of the companies that got 437 something million. There's one owner, but you can't even know who that owner is. So what that does for the country is that it shortchanges the country. The benefit that should come in terms of taxes due to the state, revenues accruing to the state of Nigeria is lost. Taxes that should come from the high net worth individuals themselves is lost, and then it becomes a conduit itself for siphoning money and encouraging illegal outflow, of Nigeria's patrimony.
Ugochukwu Munachi with the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, explains that the beneficial ownership register will help identify the true owners of companies, especially those implicated in illicit financial flows.
The African continent, developing countries actually have been noted to lose about $1 trillion annually, right, to illicit financial flows, tax evasion, and for us, BO is a critical tool for addressing this issue, because it's a way for us to identify the true owners of companies, these companies that have been implicated in illicit financial flows. So it helps us to identify the true owners.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the Senate and House of Representatives Committee on Upstream, Midstream and Downstream of the National Assembly expressed their commitment to enact essential amendments to the NATI Act, all in a bid to improve transparency.
We must get the job done. Nigeria must return back to where we used to be.
Our agenda is targeted at introducing key amendments to the Petroleum Industry Act so as to ensure stronger provisions for clean energy transition. We also focus on reviewing the NATI Act to grant NATI statutory powers to implement the findings of their investigation.
The experts mentioned unwavering political will, ironclad enforcement, and a united front from government, citizens, and the global community as the way to go to plug loopholes in the interest of the citizens.